Hello and welcome to King Prayer Podcast. I'm Ghostly and today I'm joined by LBK. How are you doing today, LBK?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So within the last, I'd say about 12 hours, it's been a pretty fun time being a Pakistan fan. There was the start of the Tri-Series in New Zealand between Pakistan, Bangladesh, and New Zealand. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Tri-Series between
Yeah,
three
I think
full member teams. It's kind of
Zimbabwe,
become a
Pakistan, Australia series was the last one, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of become a relic of the past. It's fun to see them back. It reminds me of my childhood when they were a bit more common. But yeah, that series got underway at the Hagley Oval in Christchurch with Pakistan beating Bangladesh by 21 runs. LBK, did you get to watch that match?
Now, actually, I did not watch, mostly followed it at best, but I think I got the gist of the overall game or the pitch or the how the game progressed, and I think it was a little on the slower side, but it was pretty good nonetheless.
Yeah, from the scorecard, that's what you get, and that's not wrong. That's essentially what it was. But watching it live, this was sort of the definition of what a meme match is. To start, there were quite a few issues with the pitch. Baba and Rizwan kept slipping when they were trying to run their singles at the start. Uh, I think it's because, or one of the commentators mentioned that it snowed the previous day, so
Yep.
that could have had something to do with it. But it was a bit unsafe with him falling everywhere.
Yeah, I think it
And
was kind of
yeah,
an hazardous situation to play in general.
yeah. Well, Pakistan got the bat first, and as always, they opened with Rizwan and Babur, that duo which always seems to stick in. How it is with the Rizwan Babur opening is that one of three things always happens. Either they both stick and they go on to score some ridiculous total, or Rizwan goes early and then Babur sticks for a bit, and then the middle order collapses, or Babur gets out early, Rizwan sticks, and the middle order collapses. So the third option is what happened. Rizwan scored 78 off 50. Babar Azam dismissed on 22. Shan Masood did have a cameo. He had 31 off 22, but the rest was a classic middle order collapse. Uh, Credit to Bangladesh bowling. They were pretty good. They used the conditions well. But one thing that was interesting about this match, which I haven't really seen before, is how egregiously bad the camera work was. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
sure
this is more
why.
of an Amazon thing. I think it also
Yeah,
covered
I think
the
it's an Amazon.
India women versus New Zealand women series, and this was kind of an ongoing thing back then as well. They are not the best at working camera angles.
So is it just because Amazon is inexperienced with uh, cricket, or
I
is
think,
there some other factor?
yeah, I think it looks like they do not cover live things. That is that, I guess,
Hmm.
because it did not look good back then. And from what I've heard from people's experience, it was again not looking good. Actually, some people said that during the Bangladesh innings, it got a little better, but I think overall people are still unsatisfied with that overall.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. I know there were at least two catches which happened off screen, so we didn't even see it until later. Um, a lot of the shots, the cameraman just missed completely. Like I remember Sean Masood, he cut one the through deep point, and the cameraman was showing square leg. So it got questionable at some points. But that does go to show how difficult cricket camera work is. It's very hard, and when
Yeah,
it's
and
not done
there's
by
there's one more thing that we sometimes forget. It is the lighting difference because from what I have seen, New Zealand probably has the most. I don't know if that's the right word, but whitest lights. It is a weird word. When just compare something you see, you know, maybe a game in India or Pakistan, or maybe a game in South Africa, Australia, and then compare the same night game to New Zealand's night game, and you'll see their lights are much more brighter. So when a
Mhm.
white ball travels in that light, it is really tough to see. I think some people even complained how it was really tough to follow the ball in general, despite
Yeah.
camera even following it well. So I guess that is the issue. I mean, obviously lights are not exactly the same everywhere. Maybe the towers are big, or maybe the towers are small, or maybe just the light much more intense than than the ones we have.
Yeah, well, camera work aside, and I hope it gets better later on in the tour. The rest of the game was pretty ordinary. Bangladesh never really got set. They looked okay at the start, but then they just started slowing down. The Pakistan bowling was pretty good for them. Yasser Ali, 42 off 21. I believe a good chunk of those runs came in the final over when he whacked Hadif around a
Yeah, it
bit.
was kind of a brownie point situation.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, Muhammad Wasim was standout. 3 wickets, 24 runs. He was on a hat trick. He was yeah, at some point he was bowling some good Yorkers. And yeah, that's pretty much how that match went. It was
Yeah, I think
fairly regulation.
that yeah, that game has had nothing out of the ordinary. It was more or less that the pitch was little tough to bat, but ultimately, since Rizwan batted through, they could obviously get more than decent total. And with Bangladesh, it was just the issue with the pacing, because at one point
Mm-hmm.
they were starting to look decent when Liton Das was batting. I think he was playing his shots really well, but I think he committed a big mistake by targeting Nawaz. I think I said during the game that maybe they should try to play out Nawaz, and then maybe even go to attack Shadab or maybe the Pacers. I think
Yeah.
it was Haris Rauf who got back, because I think he pulls a little faster than Dahani and Mohammad Wasim, which
Yes.
kind of helped, because the ball, I think ball was taking a bit in the surface, or maybe the
A little bit, yeah. A
learning.
little bit.
So that is maybe the issue. So that is probably why it was tough to play, and especially for Bangladesh, whose middle order is still pretty shaky. And we pretty much saw all of that today.
Yep. Honestly, these kind of matches are good. Pakistan is known for giving their fans heart attacks. So just a good chill match is good once in a while. For me, it started at 10 p.m. here, so I believe it ended at around 2 a.m.
So yeah,
So and then I had to get up for school at 6, so it was a night well spent. But yeah, and aside from that, um, to be honest, and I feel kind of bad for saying this, I didn't know there was a Pakistan India game that night. After the men's match ended, I just went to sleep. But there was a Asia Cup match as well between the Pakistan women and the India women, and what a game that was. Up and see the very end of it, so it lasted like 4 overs. Uh, LBK, you're more knowledgeable on women's cricket than I am. What did you think about it?
it kind of reminded me of which was it, the fourth game of Pakistan England series, the one where Pakistan scored 165 and defended it. Liam Dawson scored 25 odd, and then Harisov took
Yeah.
3 wickets. It was, I think, the fourth game for the series. And I mean, obviously, the games had a little bit of different flows in the middle, but more or less, it was the flow was pretty much the same as that, because Nida Dar is someone who is known to score fast runs, play her shots, and she did. And there have been some issues with the pitch in general, because there's been slow outfields. The pitch has been keeping low, but today it seemed like the pitch was really good actually. I mean, they in Pakistan batted really well, especially with Bismillah Dar, and then India, although they lost, I think the intent was there, and actually for them. I mean, whoever was playing their shots with caution, they were actually getting the value for it. So it was not as bad a pitch as people had thought previously it would be. So actually, it was good. But ultimately, as I was kind of like that 185 game, 165 game between Bangladesh,
Yeah.
England, and Pakistan, because India were trying to, maybe intend their way to the total,
Mhm.
but the wickets keep falling, and Pakistan fielding was really good. I mean, I think there was just one dropped catch from what I have seen, and
Yeah, it was
pretty
one
much
drop catch at the
everything,
very end. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much everything that went to the fielders was caught except that one stumping chance, but that was reading the next ball itself, so didn't matter that much. And from Indian side, actually, it is kind of weird because obviously Pakistan did really well, and they have a lot to take from this game. I think from Indian side, it wasn't much. There was, I mean, there were not huge positives, but there was not any huge negative as well. I mean, it is simple as that they needed to be a little more patient, and
Mhm.
pretty much it was Pakistan doing well and India just not being able to do as well rather than doing badly. That was the kind of the gist of the game, I guess.
Yeah, if you look in the scorecard, the man of the match was Intidad, 56 off 37 with the bat, 2 for 23 with the ball. And I believe somebody on Reddit pointed out that in the very first T20 that Pakistan ever beat India in, the man of the match was also Intidad, and that was about 10 years ago.
Yep,
So
that was 2012.
her longevity is amazing. I think she's one of the more underrated, one of the more underrated cricketers out there.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it is
another
the
thing,
general thing with Pakistan itself. I mean, Pakistan women's cricket has a lot of good players, but since the team has not come to the fore yet, that's why sometimes, someone like Nijadar or even Bisma Maroof gets, gets hidden in all this shining light of the other teams, I guess.
yeah, I'd also like to point out for India, they had some pretty impressive power hitting at the back end by Richa Ghosh. That was that got my heart beating a bit. How I think she hit like three sixes
Yeah,
towards the end.
yeah. Actually, Richa
Yeah,
Ghosh
it
is
was.
a really interesting batter, in my opinion, because we have seen her bat for what? I mean, actually, she debuted in the pre-COVID times, and she is only 19 right now. But if you look post-COVID, and particularly this year, or particularly the whole between the previous WBBL to this WBBL, I mean, both happen in October. So that's from that October to this October. She has played against Australia. She has played against New Zealand. I think she played a few games in the World Cup, and obviously now this Asia Cup. She missed Commonwealth Games, I think, and she has done some really impressive things, I guess, because she has scored the fastest ODI 50 for India. She was the one who took India to 270 plus total in Australia previously, and I think in this game and the game against Malaysia, I guess she hit it really well. I mean, she's the kind of player who can middle it really well from the first ball, as we saw even in the England series. So this seems like her thing, and she's really good with that.
Yeah, she's definitely an asset to have in your lower order when you need quick runs. And also, it's I don't know what it is with Pakistan, both the men's and the women's team. Within 24 hours, this Pakistan team, I believe they lost to Thailand, and then they beat India. So it's just a funny state of affairs. In fact,
You
I
know,
think with Asia Cup so far, India has beaten Sri Lanka, who have beaten Thailand, who have beaten Pakistan, who have beaten India. So it's just a cycle. I believe no team is currently undefeated. So
actually, it could be acting like that.
it looks a quality contest so far.
Yeah, I mean, see, the thing with the Pakistan team is that they already have good spinners. That is something that is that many times because we have seen it a lot of times. Uh, their biggest issue was probably their fielding and their batting. I mean, even a few good batters like Nidar. There's Bisma Maruf. Munibali is slow for T. Maruf sometimes slows down. But I think that is that for them. I mean, these are the ones that have to work if Pakistan has to win. And I think that happened today. So even though from the outside, it looks like a whole unpredictability thing. I think when
Yeah.
you look a little further into it, it seems like, I mean, it is pretty simple after all. I mean, the folks that had to do it for them did it for them, and that's how they won.
Yep, it was a good morning. I enjoyed it, and I'll look to follow this Asia Cup more closely now.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Pakistan women's team, to be honest, they aren't the best. We struggled to beat Ireland when we toured them. So it's, but it's also important to not give up on them because because obviously they're capable of beating India as they just showed. So I'm really looking forward to the Pakistan Women's League, which was announced for March 3rd. I believe it will run concurrently with the PSL. I
Yeah, I
hope
think
what they
they'll
do.
all clash. I mean, PSL and WIPL would probably also take place in that time period.
I
I mean.
hope what the is the WIPL confirmed yet, like for dates, or is
Uh,
it?
Actually, there's not really been any official announcement. It was more like someone asked Saurav Ganguly, and he said like we are trying to plan it for the March 2023. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, well, as for now, it looks like because the WPSL or whatever they're gonna call it is confirmed. Uh, I hope what they do is do what the 100 does, where they put the women's game and the men's game back to back, so people could come and watch both. It also generates interest for the women's game. Young girls who come to watch, they could watch the women play. It just all around does nothing but good for the scene of
Yeah,
women's
I
cricket
think
and cricket in general
there's
in Pakistan.
one more thing with WPSL, and I think it is kind of a general thing. It will probably also apply to PJL. I mean, Pakistan Junior League that is going on. That
Yep.
they'll need to give both of them a lot of time to
Yes, of
nurture
course.
and improve, because let's assume there's a clash between WPSL and WIPL. Then there's a good chance that the players would be divided. I mean, talking about the overseas players, there's a good chance that few would be here, few would be there. Obviously, uh, since there's a good chance there would be a draft rather than an auction, as we have seen
Yeah.
IPL suggesting right now. So I assume the players would be in communication with the franchisees. Who do they want to play for? I mean,
It was great talking to you again, and I hope we could sit down together soon and discuss the results of the Asia Cup. And hopefully, I'd like to get Stuff and BP together as well and see if we could do a preview for the World T20 as we did for the Asia Cup. That'd be fun.
oh, sure, we can do that. Actually, I was thinking that we'll do a squad tier. Actually, we'll just the squads.
All right,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. Well, thank you for being with me today, LBK. It was great to have you on. And thanks to everybody for listening.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Jose, bye.